All right, well, there we go. What is good, YouTube? It's Thursday. You know what that means. What's up, Power Gaming, Downfall Wrestling? Welcome to the stream, fellas. It is Thursday, June the 3rd, 2021. And of course, it wouldn't be a stream here in Wrestling with Fans with some type of minor technical difficulty. My NVIDIA broadcast had shut down and wasn't working, so my microphone wasn't technically active. So I had to turn that on. But if you can tell by the name of the stream, major WWE budget cuts. We're going to be discussing all that big news from yesterday. I had a nice stream plan. I had a lot of cool notes planned, talking about the potential WWE and New Japan Pro Wrestling deal. Then WWE had to go and ruin my plans and release a bunch of talent. So we're going to talk about that. What we're going to do is we'll run down the list of everybody. We'll talk about some stuff. I will get to the chat periodically throughout my little rant. And then we'll open up the chat for the second half of the show like we normally do. You guys can give your comments and your thoughts. If you want to put it in the chat now, awesome. I'll get to that here shortly. Just want to show off a couple little things. You can kind of see over my shoulder here, right over here, I've got a whole stack of figs. Now, down in the description below, you'll find the link for the KC Toys YouTube channel that my friend Chris and I have started. We're putting the word out there. We got 8 or 9 subscribers, I think now, some 7 or 8, something like that, and a link to our Instagram where we post a lot of cool fig photography. Yesterday, when I got home from work, I was already tired, but I unboxed, I think it was like 11 or 12 figures for that YouTube channel because that's going to be all the toy channel. I have a few more wrestling figure videos with the Wrestling with Fans brand that's going to hit the channel over the next couple weeks. And then all the toy stuff's going to go over to KC Toys. So make sure you guys subscribe to that. Subscribe here if you haven't done so already. Give the video a thumbs up if you haven't done so. Helps us out. Comment. But I wanted to show off a little something that I thought would be kind of cool. You obviously seen the Macho Ultimate. We did that. I unboxed the brand new Roman Reigns. I already gave him the Blue Universal title. But what I did, I also picked up some gold paint while I was out today. And I'm going to paint his glove and his gauntlet gold. So this is going to get updated sometime over the weekend. We'll have that. And then I also unboxed this for the KC Toys channel. The Edge Ultimate Edition. Now I just got to say, this weird head sculpt with the hair and the face, I wasn't sold in the pictures. But having it in hand and looking at it when it's posable, this thing is freaking awesome. I love this figure. Absolutely love this figure. So that unboxing's been done. I also did this bad boy. Marvel Legends Thanos, the big deluxe, the Legend series with the gauntlet. This is a beefy boy. So this is your standard elite. And here's Thanos. He's a monster. This figure is awesome. So make sure you check that out. Now, if you already follow Wrestling with Fans and KC Toys on Instagram, you know the other figs that got bigger. I bought the entire Marvel Legends Disney Plus wave that I am super excited to show off. I mean, got White Vision, which is awesome. Got Loki, U.S. Agent. This may be my favorite one. The Scarlet Witch, the Wanda one. Such an awesome figure. But the Build-A-Figure for this set, and I just got to show this off real quick, and then we'll get into wrestling. I'm sorry, guys. So, Falcon, a.k.a. Captain America, the new Captain America, is its own figure, but the Build-A-Figure isn't a Build-A-Figure. It's Build-A-Wingsuit. The figures come, so when you get the entire wave, you can complete the wingsuit. It even comes with a little red wing, which which is right here. It attaches to his backpack, so Raymond kind of sits over his shoulder. But so freaking awesome. I just wanted to show that off real quick. I'm sure some of you guys will appreciate that. Some may not, and that's all good. But again, if you're into the whole toy thing, check out KC Toys. Might start doing some streams over there as well. I've also been working on some behind the scenes stuff here at Wrestling with Fans to make the streams a lot cooler. And this is one of those things we'll do. I got some new transitions, some new effects, just like that. So don't forget, every Monday and Thursday, right here on the Wrestling with Fans YouTube channel, we live stream 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're watching the stream live, make sure you're subscribed. Give the video a thumbs up. If you're listening to the audio version of this show, go down in the audio description, click the link for the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Wrestling with Fans, and subscribe so you can join us live and chat. We have an awesome community we're building here. And would love for you guys, if you listen to the audio version, I'd love for you guys to be a part of the live stream as well. And of course, Facebook.com/Wrestling with Fans, YouTube.com/Wrestling with Fans, Instagram.com/Wrestling with Fans. That's the social medias for the show. What is good, TEW Wrestling? Nope, it's not over. I am just getting started, my friend. Just getting started. WrestlingWithFans.com. Download or stream the shows at any time. New audio podcasts are posted every Saturday morning at 6:05 a.m. Take us on the go. Download us to your favorite podcast listening device. Just search Wrestling with Fans Podcast. We're on all the majors: Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, all the big ones. Wherever you get your podcast fix, you can find Wrestling with Fans. And the email is wwfshow@gmail.com. Again, I talked about this Monday. I'm still working on a Discord server. So there will be a Discord server for Wrestling with Fans where we can post news. There'll be new videos. You get notifications when new videos go live. And I'm also working on a stream room on the Discord where I can live stream watch-alongs. So you guys can join me for watch-alongs live. It'll be exclusive to Discord members. Should be a lot of fun. All right, so let's get in to the news. Let's get into the releases. I don't want to talk about any other news and stuff out there. I just want to touch on what went down yesterday. So, Sean Ross Sapp from Frightful Select on Tuesday had said that he had heard rumblings of a bunch of releases coming, but did not want to release the names until the talent had been notified. So, Wednesday afternoon, the news broke. And it was some big news because there's some big names here, guys. From the official WWE.com article, WWE has come to terms on the releases of Braun Strowman, Aleister Black, Lana, Murphy, Ruby Riot, and Santana Garrett. WWE wishes them the best in all of their future endeavors. So 6 more superstars got the axe yesterday. Now, I'm gonna talk about each one of them here as we go along, and then eventually we'll get to where I think they'll end up. And again, we'll get to the chat with all your comments and everything here shortly as well. First up is Santana Garrett. We'll start at the end of the list, and we'll work our way from probably least to most shocking. Santana Garrett is extremely talented. She had some matches on Raw last year during the pandemic in the build to last year's WrestleMania. And she had been earmarked for a call-up to the main roster and was pretty much just sitting in limbo And there are even reports out there that Santana Garrett was set to make her main roster debut on this week's SmackDown, which is a shame. She's young, she has a lot of talent, great in the ring, great personality, and I think she could have been a real big breath of fresh air on either roster. The next one on the list, and this one is probably second to me as the word. This stings the most, and that's Ruby Riot. I love Ruby Riot. I really, really do. And not just, the idea of the Riot Squad, but just Ruby in general. She has such a unique look. She is so good in the ring. And wherever she lands, she's going to instantly bolster that women's roster. Now, again, I'm going to speculate where I think they will go or should go. We'll get to that. We'll jump into the chat here real quick. Power Gaming says, when WWE superstars get released, can they ever come back? Yes. It has been known to happen more times than I can humanly remember where a superstar has been released and ultimately come back to the company. Many, many times. Even names such as big as Hulk Hogan have left, come back, left again, come back. Chris Jericho for a time would come in for a year or two run, take a year or so off, come back for a year, take 6 months off, come back. So it is not uncommon for superstars to come back. Not uncommon at all. But with Ruby Riot gone, again, WWE loses one of its coveted women's tag teams. Now, the Riot Squad, as to my knowledge, have not been used or seen since WrestleMania Night 1. Sarah Logan ended up leaving. It was 2019, I think, was her last appearance in WWE. She went off. Of course, she is married to Eric of the Viking Raiders. They just had their first child last year, I believe. So she's still out there. Will she come back? Who knows? We may never find out. But, and then you've got Liv. Poor Liv. And they did the network special on her. Hey, Salome, welcome to the stream. But, poor Liv, who for the longest time kind of seemed to be the odd woman out when it came to the Riot Squad. They had the big repackaging. They brought her back last year, involved in the whole Cuck storyline with Rusev and Lana. But poor Liv is now on her own without Ruby Riot. But yeah, Ruby Riot, it stinks because she's one of the women on the roster that I think was probably the most underutilized. So talented. And yet, she is now out of a job. Next on the list, don't call me Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy, that man is a match machine. There's a reason he's called the best kept secret. And I'll touch on some of the social media posts later on in the stream. Huge outpouring of support for all those released. But Buddy Murphy is one of those guys. He was pretty decent there in NXT. Now, he came up to the main roster, was great with putting on great match after great match with the Cruiserweight title. Now, he had a pretty fun storyline. As much as I didn't really enjoy the Monday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins, the story with him and, Buddy Murphy, I thought was really good. And then once that was dropped, Seth was moved to SmackDown. And then you had him in the storyline with Aaliyah Mysterio that just was dropped completely out of nowhere. Which, again, I don't know why. And he's just kind of been chilling. And then there's Lana. Say what you want about Lana. And I have been very critical of Lana. But I will give Lana credit. She put in the work. She worked her ass off to try to get better and improve in the ring. Now, while she may not be, putting on wrestling classics every week, at least she put in the effort, put in the work to try to improve. She was extremely entertaining. I mean, she's a dime. I mean, she is one of the most beautiful women in wrestling. But the fans never really took her serious. Then you had the whole storyline not long ago, at the end of last year, her being put through tables, not one, not two, not three, but 10 weeks in a row. And it was supposed to help get her over as a babyface. I mean, it's bad writing. I don't fault Lana for that at all. But again, she wasn't the best worker. She was always entertaining. She was great on the microphone. She can talk her ass off. But, while she may not have been able, putting on, mat classics every week, she put in the work. And that I respect and I appreciate. And I think everybody is kind of on the same page where we think she'll end up. But again, we'll touch on that here shortly. And then up next is Aleister Black, a.k.a. Tommy End. The weird thing with Aleister Black is he was so over in NXT. Was doing such great things in NXT. Then they call him up to the main roster as part of a tag team with Ricochet. You have one of the best in-ring workers in your company, and you bring him up in a tag team with Ricochet. Ricochet is another one who I'm honestly surprised Ricochet's still employed. I love Ricochet, but they're not really doing much with him. But Aleister Black, I mean, he did the whole losing his eye thing. He sat home for 7 months. They finally bring him back with these vignettes, which I thought the vignettes were brilliant. I thought they were really, really good. They have him show up 2 weeks ago, interfere in the 4-way Intercontinental Championship match, hit the Black Mass on Big E, presumably setting up some kind of story or some kind of feud with Big E. There was nothing mentioned of it last week. And according to Dave Meltzer on Twitter, they had already filmed some stuff for Aleister Black and Big E that was apparently going to be aired this Friday on SmackDown. So they were already moving forward with the Aleister Black and Big E storyline. So I'm not really sure what's the thought process was by eliminating Aleister Black. Now, he took to social media and even live streamed on his wife's Twitch, on Zelina Vega, Thea Trinidad's Twitch. And even said this came completely out of left field. Like, this was not expected. They were setting up stuff with him and Big E. They had filmed stuff. They were ready to move forward. And then all of a sudden, boom, he gets released. It's a shame. And then last but certainly not least, and I wanted to use that adage for Braun just because it's just what set him off a few months back. The monster among men, Braun Strowman. This one is probably the most surprising of all. Because just 3.5 weeks ago, he was in a WWE Championship match at Backlash. And Braun is a product of the WWE system. He was a power lifter, came into NXT, did a lot of stuff in NXT. He was part of the Rosebuds when Adam Rose got called up to the main roster. You could see in a lot of those old clips, Braun Strowman is one of the Rosebuds. He was part of the Wyatt family. Introduced him. He was really, really green when he came in, part of the Wyatt family. He hadn't had a lot of time in the ring. And over the last few years, he's really developed, and he's one of the better big men that WWE have had in a long time. Now, the stuff that was written for him for his promos, that they had a guy who should be using simple words and loud voices, trying to sound like he's super ultra intelligent. And it wasn't believable for Braun to use these really, really big words. And that's not a knock on Adam Scherr, the person. It's a knock on how the character was written. They tried to make him into something he wasn't. So there were times where Braun, you just kind of laugh at him because It was just, it didn't make any sense as to why they were having him say some of the things he was. But those are the 6 superstars who are no longer with WWE. Now, let's talk for a second about where these ladies and gentlemen will end up. Let's go back into the order. Santana Garrett. Actually, let me start with this. A lot of people are instantly just saying, so and so is all elite. So and so is all elite. They're all going to AEW. They're all going to AEW. I don't think all of them are going to AEW. In all honesty, I think maybe 2 will go to AEW of that group. Maybe a third. There's one I can almost guarantee, and we all know who that is. But let's start with Santana Garrett. Now, where do I think she will land? I don't think she's going to go to AEW. She would be a good fit, I think, to be able to fill in spots on like AEW Dark, Dark Elevation, the new show. They can always use, more talented women, especially the women on AEW. But for me, honestly, I think Santana Garrett will go one of 2 places. Either A, to Mexico, one of the, AAA promotions, something like that. But all honesty, I think Santana Garrett's going to end up in Impact Wrestling. I think someone as young and talented as Santana Garrett would be a great fit over at Impact. Some of the matchups she could have with the talented women that Impact Wrestling has, I think she'll be a great fit there. And I'm going to say a ditto for Ruby Riot. Ruby's unique look would benefit AEW more because you can have, the tattoos, the dyed hair, the piercings, the outfit. It'd be a really stark contrast to current AEW Women's Champion Britt Baker. So while I think that would be a great matchup, and I think they could tell a great story with that clash, again, I don't think Ruby Riot is someone that AEW... I'm sure they're going to look at. I'm sure they would have some interest. But again, I think her best landing spot would probably be in Impact Wrestling as well. And then Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy is a match machine, as I've said. And AEW has so many match machines. They have so many guys that can just go out there and just put on these crazy, ridiculous matches. AEW doesn't need a guy like Buddy Murphy. They have enough guys like Buddy Murphy. However, as much as I'd love to see, Murphy versus Omega, Murphy versus Pac, there's a lot of great matchups. Honestly, I think Buddy Murphy's best landing spot would be New Japan. I think someone with the skills and the moveset that Buddy Murphy has, New Japan Pro Wrestling would, in my humble opinion, would be his best landing spot. I think he would be able to grow, just put out banger after banger with all of the insane talent that New Japan has to offer. If you guys haven't checked out New Japan, I highly recommend YouTubing some New Japan stuff. I know a lot of you guys in this chat are mainly just WWE, some NXT, AEW, but mostly WWE. But New Japan Wrestling, man, they do some great stuff. It's a different style of wrestling. But Murphy, like I said, I think for my part, I think his best landing spot would probably be New Japan. Now Lana. I think it goes without saying, Lana will end up in All Elite Wrestling. She'll end up in AEW. Obviously, her husband Miro is the TNT champion, so that's a natural fit. And Miro was at his best with Lana at his side. Lana was at her best when she was with Miro. Their husband-wife, there's a natural chemistry there that I think that given the circumstances, AEW would be fools for not capitalizing on that. Hey, Chewy, welcome to the live stream, friend. And the other good thing is there's already a built-in storyline just waiting for her to show up. You could easily have Miro and Lana. I'm assuming they'll probably have her come in under her real name, CJ Perry. Just Miro and CJ. Easily, they could go just jump right into the feud with Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford. It's already there. And then you just add CJ to the mix, add Lana to the mix. Boom, you got your mixed tag matches. It's a perfect fit. And again, they're both at their best when they're together. And I think Cody and Tony Khan and the Bucks and Omega and, the executives there in AEW will probably be pulling in Lana sooner than later. I think that kind of goes without saying. I think we all, as soon as Lana's name came up, it's up, she's going to AEW with Miro. And it's pretty easy to see that. Now, I'll just throw in here real quick. Power Game, yes, Miro is Rusev. The former Rusev now competes in AEW under the name Miro and as their TNT champion. But him and Lana are married in real life, obviously. So, again, they would be a great fit. And I'll throw in real quick that per the standard WWE contract, release superstars will have a 90-day no-compete clause. So they will not be able to perform or compete for another promotion for 90 days. So the earliest we would see any of these guys show up, guys or gals, show up anywhere, will be the beginning of September. Which just so happens to be right before AEW's All Out. And let's touch on Aleister Black. There's not much more you can say about Tommy End. He's now going back to his original wrestling name, Tommy End. But we'll just keep referring to him as Aleister Black for this show. But Aleister Black, I think there's several places that he could go. Obviously, All Elite would be a real good fit. Again, he's a match machine, but like I said with Buddy Murphy, they have a lot of those. Now, if they do some kind of similar character that the Aleister Black character was in WWE, he would be a great counter to or addition to something like maybe the Dark Order. John Silver took to Twitter earlier today and said that they won't be having a new leader. They already had the best. Because I think you could bring in somebody like an Aleister Black to kind of fill in that role for the Dark Order. But there's no replacing Brody Lee. There's no replacing Brody Lee. Power Game Point up to 105 subs. Wow, awesome. Welcome to whoever the new subscriber is. Thank you for pointing that out. And I didn't get a notification this time, so that's kind of annoying. But, it is what it is. Again, I think Aleister Black would benefit for something like, I think he'd be great at Impact. I think he'd be great going back to, going to Ring of Honor. But again, I think Aleister Black would be an amazing fit for New Japan. He kind of has a somewhat strong style, which is kind of like the norm there in New Japan Pro Wrestling. And I think some of the great matches he could have with the Lions of New Japan, with the top stars of New Japan, would be amazing. And last but not least, Braun Strowman. And I'm going to keep saying that every time we refer to it, because I know that's what set him off after Survivor Series last year. Last, but certainly not least, Braun Strowman. Braun's an interesting one. And I'm going to touch more on Braun Strowman here in a few minutes. But Braun is an interesting case. Because like I said, he is a product of the WWE system. As far as I know, he had zero wrestling experience before signing with WWE. Or very, very minimal wrestling training before coming to WWE. So he is a WWE guy through and through. And he is like the prototypical dream wrestler for Vince. 6'6", 300 plus pounds, big, beefy boy. And he's got a great attitude. Like, if you've ever seen any, like, red carpet stuff with Braun or, like, I want to say shoot interviews, but, non-kayfabe interviews, the guy's got personality coming out of his ass. So charismatic. A little awkward at times, but so charismatic. I don't think Braun's going to go anywhere. I think Braun, and I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Braun will be back in WWE within a year. More than likely by the end of 2021, I think Braun Strowman will be back in WWE. Now, where would I like Braun to go? I think Braun would be a great fit in AEW. For two reasons. Paul White, Big Show Paul White, and Mark Henry. Because, Big Show was like one of the big coups, signing with All Elite Wrestling, going by his real name, Paul White, being a commentator and a coach, like a trainer, an agent. And same goes for the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, being announced back at Double or Nothing as being All Elite. Will also be an analyst on the new television show, as well as a coach. And I think having Braun show up in AEW with guys like Big Show, with guys like Mark Henry, teaching him. Big Show, Paul White, is arguably the best giant ever. Arguably the best giant ever. Now, that just depends on who you classify as a giant. I think the only other people who might be better than Big Show would be like Undertaker and Kane, if you consider them giants, because they're both 6'10" and up. So it depends on where I guess you have the cutoff of giants. Hell, even Andre in his younger days was doing drop kicks and crazy flying stuff. Power Gaming, AEW is normally on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. But I think this week and the next couple weeks, due to the NBA playoffs, they are airing Friday nights at 10 p.m. So as soon as SmackDown goes off the air, flip over to TNT and you can watch AEW Dynamite. I think it's the next 3 weeks. They're going to be on Fridays from 10 to midnight Eastern time. But their normal time slot is Wednesdays at 8 p.m. if you want to check them out. But again, like I said, Braun Strowman being able to learn hands-on with Big Show and with Mark Henry, I think he could only get better. And here's the thing. And here's why I think Braun Strowman will be back sooner than later. It is being reported by multiple sources, I don't have them all here in front of me, that last year Braun Strowman re-signed a new WWE deal. And if you believe the reports, if you believe the rumor and innuendo, it is for upwards of $1 million. I've even seen where they say it could be high as $2 million a year. So when you have somebody like Braun, who, yes, he's a big star. Yes, he main events pay-per-views. Yes, he's getting a prominent spot on television. He is not going to be a draw like a Roman Reigns or a Randy Orton or a Drew McIntyre or like a Charlotte Flair. He's probably one tier below him. He's up there. He's really up there. He's a top guy for sure. Probably a top 3, top 4 guy on whatever brand he's on. But he's making so much money. I think what they did last year is they signed him to such a big deal to make sure that he did not go anywhere else. And now they're realizing that, man, maybe we overpaid him. Let's cut our losses. And, maybe there was some kind of discussion of a pay cut, a restructuring of his deal, and he just didn't want any part of it. Said, okay, well, we're going to have to release you. That could be a possibility. Or maybe they just outright released him knowing that at some point he will be back. I think Braun Strowman is a Vince McMahon guy. Braun has said that he never wants to work for any other wrestling promotion. I think Braun would do great things in AEW. I think Braun would do great things in Impact. I think Braun would be a huge draw over in New Japan. But my gut's just telling me that Braun will be back within a year. Braun will be back. And it would not shock me, in all honesty, it would not shock me if Braun Strowman signs by the end of the year or is maybe even like a surprise entrant in next year's Royal Rumble. But if they re-sign him, they're going to re-sign him for a lot less. They're going to re-sign him like a standard deal. Probably 6 figures, low, mid 6 figures, like other guys in that range. But I don't think Braun's going anywhere. I think he's probably going to take some time off. I definitely don't see him showing up anywhere else. Even though, like I said, I think he would be a great fit in AEW to learn from Big Show and Mark Henry. He could do some big beefy boy matches with, like Wardlow, Jake Hager, Lance Archer, Brian Cage, Powerhouse Hobbs. I mean, they have a lot of beefy boys over in AEW. They might not be the tallest or as tall as Braun, but man, they got some beefy boys. And if you want to see some beefy boys slap and meet Braun Strowman showing up and facing any one of those guys, that'd be some money right there. We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to play a little clip here. We come back. I've got one more rant to get off my chest, and we're going to open up the chat for anybody that wants to chat, comment on everything. I've been trying to keep up with it. I'll run back through, answer any questions I may have missed. But we're going to take a quick couple-minute break here on the show and see what all kind of fun stuff we can get to. But like I said, I got one rant to get in, and then we're going to open up the chat. So we'll be back here in just a couple minutes here on the Wrestling with Fans YouTube channel. Good YouTube, Kyle back here with another figure unboxing video. And as you can see, we have Io Shirai Elite Series 79. Awesome figure here. First time in the line. See what she looks like in the packaging. Picture on this side. Action shot on the other side. See what we got here on the back with her stats. There may have been. Well, you can't even read. There have been many gravity-defying high flyers, but the Joshi Judas is the one and only genius of the sky. As you can see, who else is in the line here? Xavier Woods, Bobby Fish, Big E, Daniel Bryan, and Roman Reigns. If you haven't checked out, we have a New Day unboxing with these two and Kofi Kingston. Check it out up here. It's also Roman Reigns unboxing out there. It's not about them. It's about the genius of the sky, Io Shirai. You know how we do here on the channel. We love to let them breathe. Let's crack this bad girl open. And just like that, there we have it. Let's take a look at the accessories here. She does come with, I'm guessing you call these mic holding hands. I don't know if you're going to fit a microphone. But they do have the cool matching little studs there for her outfit. Let's take a look. First, let's look at the head scan. Pretty good likeness for Io Shirai. The other thing I like about this, it does come with a soft goods jacket. You can see the detailing and the lettering there on the back. If someone can translate for me, do so down in the comments below. But really cool. Let's see if we can't... let's take her jacket off here. Get a little closer look at it. I want to come off that. There we go. Alright, as you can see, it does have the... nice fuzzies there. It's got some of the little strands hanging off. Really cool looking jacket. You guys get a close-up look there of it. Very cool. I do like a good soft goods jacket. I like it better than the hard rubber that they sometimes will send. Again, let's get another close-up here. Face scan, I think it's pretty good. I think the hair looks pretty good the way it's kind of laying on her. I like that. You can see the detail. Let's pull the hair back. There's actually a little, actually this one's just painted on, not like the gloves. Her gloves, you kind of see her textured there. Let's see if we can get a, kind of see, maybe not. There we go. You can see they're textured. I thought maybe her outfit was as well, but it's just painted. Cool detail. And the paint. does come with, I don't want to say these are like chokeslam hands, but they're just kind of open-ish. Looks like her little pads there. Oh no, okay, I guess they are. Just a little sneak peek there. One of the Io Shirai figure unboxes. You can find that on the Wrestling with Fans YouTube channel. But don't forget, we live stream every Monday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here on the Wrestling with Fans YouTube channel. So make sure you join us every Monday and Thursday. What we do is we stream for about an hour every Monday and Thursday, and then I take the best segments, the best moments from both live streams, cut them out, and that is what you get every single week for the Wrestling with Fans podcast. As always, WrestlingWithFans.com is the website. Download or stream those shows at any time. New audio podcasts are uploaded every Saturday morning at 6:05 a.m. Eastern. Take us on the go, download to your favorite podcast listening device. You can find us wherever you get your podcast fix. Facebook.com/WrestlingWithFans. YouTube.com/WrestlingWithFans. And Instagram at WrestlingWithFans. Follow us across all social medias. If you're listening to the audio version of the show, go down in the show notes. There are links to everything. If you're watching the live stream, there are links to everything down below in the video description. Also, subscribe to us on KC Toys, the brand new toy channel. Like I said, I've got about 15 to 20 videos I've got in the queue to edit. They're going to go up. It's going to be fire over there. So make sure you check that out. Get in early. Follow KC Toys on Instagram for some fun fig photography as well. And we come back in here. Yeah, Power Game, I think we were at 9 over there now. It's either 8 or 9. But yeah, thank you for pointing out the echo. Anytime I post those videos, I always forget that I have to mute my desktop audio as well. So, sorry about that for those watching live. All right, so. One last thing to get off my chest, and then we'll bring in the chat and we'll answer some questions and things like that. I'll run back the chat. Budget cuts. Actually, I got 4 words. I've got 4 words for a very, very, very small section of the wrestling fan community. And those 4 words are shut the fuck up. And I'll tell you why I have those 4 words for it. It's a small portion of the wrestling fandom. There are people on social media yesterday, after the news broke, saying that, wow, they got rid of Superstar A, but still have Superstar B. Why is Superstar B still employed? Look, I get it. There's certain people you're going to like. There's certain people you're not going to like. That is the great thing, and I've said this time and time again. Wrestling is subjective. My favorite wrestlers are not going to be your favorite wrestlers. The wrestlers I like to watch aren't always going to be the same wrestlers that you like to watch. But to question why certain people have a job and others don't, and wishing people to lose their jobs, is just ridiculous. Do us all a favor and delete Twitter. Most of this happens on Twitter. This is why, I have a Twitter account just to check news. I do not post to Twitter. I think there's links to the podcast go up when it posts to the website every week. Otherwise, I don't use Twitter. Twitter is a cesspool. But I've seen so many people, and Baron Corbin even called one of these guys out. So kudos to Baron Corbin for calling one of these guys out for saying, they let Blake and Cutler go, but still kept Jackson Riker after, his little Twitter controversy. And there were other people saying, you let Superstar, like I said, you release Superstar A, but still have Superstar B. Why? Superstar B shouldn't be there. So I'm kind of over it. The wrestling community can be such a toxic community at times. And I really, really hate it. Sometimes I hate being a wrestling fan when I see stuff like that. And like I said, I just keep saying it over and over again. My favorite wrestlers don't necessarily have to be yours. Yours don't necessarily have to be mine. That's great. There's something for everybody in professional wrestling. And that's the only thing I like here in the show, because there's been people we've muted and kicked out of the stream here before for just being toxic and being so negative. Now, I'll be negative and be critical, but I'm never going to call for somebody to lose their job. At least I don't think I ever had. I may have an anger, but I don't think I've seriously ever said why they need to be fired. They need to go. I've said I don't like people, and I don't think they should be on TV, but I'm all about people keeping their jobs. But it's really toxic, and it's really irritated me. The other thing I want to point out, and there's a lot of people, and there's some larger YouTube channels that have talked about this, and I don't want to try to call people out. Like I just don't want to be that kind of person. But I've seen it before, and I feel it's worth making a note about. They talk about WWE making money, making obscene amounts of money. This is their biggest revenue year ever, and yet they're still releasing talent due to budget cuts. Or this is what the talent are being told is budget cuts. Now, I am not a finance expert. I am not a business expert. But I do have common sense. At least I'd like to think I have common sense. You can judge that for yourself. WWE is a business. WWE is a publicly traded company. The company has to make a certain percentage of revenue for its investors. So here's how this works. Since WWE is a publicly traded company, any person that owns even a single stock of WWE is technically an owner of WWE. Vince, of course, holds the majority share, so therefore he is the chairman of the board. However, if WWE doesn't meet certain revenue promises from some of its bigger investors, that's going to lead to issues. That's going to lead to stock prices falling. That's going to lead to the value of the company diminishing. That's going to eventually snowball into when TV rights come up for renewal, they're not going to be getting $1 billion deal. There's a reason they're getting $1 billion deals, because they're making money to spite themselves, and they will do whatever they need to do to make that money. I don't like anybody losing their job, especially over the last year and 3 months, the last 15 months with the whole global pandemic. I don't want anybody to lose their job. Now, there was Black Wednesday last year where they cut reportedly like 30-40% of the company. They did another big release this year on April 15th. They did more releases last month. They're doing more releases this week. People don't want to hear, but WWE is a business. They're in the business of making money, and they want to make those profits as high as possible for their investors, because that will create a chain reaction, as I've tried to layman's term it. The other thing to consider that I don't think others are considering at times, WWE next month is going back on the road. The live shows are going to be a high cost for the company. Rental of the buildings, trucks to move the stages and the rings, travel expenses for the crew. It's all going to cost a lot of money to go back on the road. Now, some of that, of course, is offset by ticket sales, merch, and their other streams of revenue. But if WWE wants to keep on pace for, another record-breaking year, which either this year or next, one of the next couple years, they're going to be a $1 billion revenue stream. They came pretty close last year. And I think Vince and company are doing everything they can to try to make WWE a $1 billion company this year. And unfortunately, it's going to come at the expense of cuts. it was reported there are 2 social media departments, one for the WWE.com and the other for like the live TV. Like, you don't need 2 social media departments, so they're consolidating a lot of stuff. They aren't doing network stuff in house completely, so they laid off a lot of those guys. But they've got to cut costs somewhere, and unfortunately, it's the town. WWE last year and in the last couple years since AEW's inception has been signing up talent left and right. They were hoarding talent, so they did not go to the competition. That was the whole idea of signing everybody up. And then once AEW, they realized that they're a pretty big threat. They started re-signing people for ridiculous amounts of money and offering ridiculous amounts of money. Sometimes double and triple of probably what the performers would normally be making just to keep them from going to AEW. And even though, just say, Wrestler D would normally be making, $250,000 a year. I don't know what the standard WWE contract is. I know it's around, it's 6 figures. But say they would normally be making, or normally be worth like a mid-carder, $250,000 a year. They would be signing, they'd be offering them $500,000 and $600,000 a year just to stay. You got a large overhead there. So they're trying to get things back in order. And of course, the big elephant in the room that everybody's been talking about is, are they consolidating departments? Are they trimming the fat on the roster to sell the company? But we'll save that discussion for another time. Let's bring the chat in finally. All right. So I'm going to go back and try to catch up on some things I may have missed. Wow, we're running a lot longer than I thought we were going to. But Power Gaming, technically they are. I think their revenue stream last year, I think they profited $900 and some million. So they were just shy of $1 billion revenue year. I think they are worth over $1 billion, but I think they want their revenue to be $1 billion. That's like the big mark they've been eyeing up for the last few years. I'm going to run back and try to catch up on chat. I'm sure a lot of these guys aren't in here anymore. Let's see, I've caught that. Power Game said, I hope Ruby Riot comes to WWE again. That would suck if she goes to AEW. I would love to see Ruby come back. I'd love to see Sarah Logan come back, and I'd love to see a full-blown Riot Squad reunion at some day. Salome says, I wonder what they're going to do with Liv Morgan. I want to see her win the Raw or SmackDown Women's Championship. Salome, that is a great question. I would love to know what the future holds for Liv Morgan. They invested a lot of time in Liv. Like I said, and they even did the network special on her, the 24/7, I think it was. I was drawing a blank there for a second. So I hope that she'll be back soon. Someone else says, I'm guessing Lana's going to AEW with Mary. Yep, that is the thing I think we are all going to go with. Power Game says, Keith Lee has been gone for, there's like 2 months and he's still employed. Yeah, there was rumors floating around on the internet. Let me pull this up real quick. There were rumors floating around on the internet that there were going to be more superstars released yesterday afternoon or today. So this is the list. Now, this was totally unconfirmed, and Sean Ross Sapp over at Frightful said that he did not hear anything about it. It's from an unreliable source, but there were 4 names on it. Liv Morgan, Keith Lee, Angel Garza, and Humberto Carrillo. So someone was floating it out there that those 4 names were also going to be released. But again, more reliable sources stated that they hadn't heard anything, and that obviously there's no factual backing to that. But those were thrown out there. Power Game says, if any of these people go to AEW, I might start watching. I would recommend, give it a try. Give AEW a try. I've gone through peaks and valleys with AEW, but I try to catch it every week, or at least catch highlights of it. So I think we've caught up on the chat. All right. So, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. But like I said, I had a nice chat playing a fun show talking about WWE and New Japan potentially. So we'll save that for another night. But all these releases, it threw me for a loop. Like I was kind of blown all afternoon yesterday. I had the afternoon off due to a doctor's appointment. So I was off work and able to follow a lot of this news in real time. And it just completely blew me away. Power Gaming says there was a rumor that Jeff Hardy was going to be released, but really Jeff Hardy he would not get released. There's been rumored innuendo that there was at one point I remember reading something that Jeff was trying to get out of his contract to go to AEW to be with Matt. Jeff Hardy is probably one of the top 20 most popular wrestlers in WWE history. Not just current, but in history. I would wager that Jeff is probably in one of the top 20 most popular superstars ever for the company. So I don't think Vince would let Jeff go anywhere. And I don't know if Jeff wants to go anywhere. I think he's probably happy in WWE. It's stable. He's going to make great money. And he knows he's going to get taken care of. At least that's my take on it. Oh, man. How is it almost 9 o'clock already? I guess I ranted and raved a lot longer than I thought I was going to. I apologize for that. But again, down in the video description below, if you're watching the live stream, give the video a thumbs up if you haven't done so already. Down in the video description, there's a link for the KC Toys YouTube channel. It's a new channel that my friend and I are making. It's all about the toys. I've got the entire Disney Plus Marvel Legends wave back here that I just filmed unboxings for. I got the Thanos, Deluxe Thanos that I unboxed. That video is going to go up on the channel. Ultimate Edition Edge is going to go up on the channel. The new Roman's going to go up on the channel. I've got some Star Wars mystery minis that I still got to unbox. One other cool thing, and again, if you follow me on Instagram, follow the podcast, Wrestling Fans or Casey Toys, I posted to both. I did this. I made some custom middle fingers for Stone Cold Steve Austin. Because Mattel will not make a middle finger hand. However, I've got them. I just took some of the open palm hands like this, heated them up with a hairdryer, and then took a pair of pliers and bent all the fingers in and just super glued them. And then bent the thumb in. So now I have middle fingers. I don't know how good you'll be able to pick it up on my camera, but they're all glued and wonky on that way. But so yeah, I made some cool custom middle fingers for my Royal Rumble Austin. They'll probably end up on my Steve Austin Ultimate Edition, which I see people are already getting them from Ringside. I have not gotten them from Ringside. So Ringside Collectibles, if you see this, I want my Ultimate Edition Flair. I want my Ultimate Edition Austin. I'll go back to the chat here for a couple more before we end the stream. Power Gaming asks, wonder what's going to happen to Liv Morgan. I have no clue. She's another one of those ones where, we see the same 4 women every single week on Raw and SmackDown. The same matches over and over and over again. But yet you had people like, Ruby Riot sitting there doing nothing. Yeah, Liv Morgan sitting there doing nothing. They would be a breath of fresh air as opposed to having Lana and Naomi going against Shayna and Nia every week. Or now Shayna and Nia versus Natty and Tamina. Like, you've got all these women sitting around doing nothing. And I believe I saw somewhere that now, after these releases, there are only 7 women active on the SmackDown roster. So SmackDown only has 7 women wrestlers currently on their roster. 7. Also, that's here. I wonder what Eva Marie is going to make happen her at WWE. I have no idea what's going on with Eva Marie. And that kind of goes back to my rant a little while ago. People are like, you let go of Ruby Riot and Lana, but yet you still got people like Eva Marie. And I'm like, yeah, I don't like Eva Marie either, but I'm not gonna wish her to get fired. They obviously think she has something to offer, enough so to bring her back and give her prominent vignettes, and we'll see what kind of role she has when she actually comes back to TV. It'll be interesting. I'm kind of curious the long game there. But I think we're gonna get ready to wrap up. It's 9 o'clock here on Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. TGIF. Thank God tomorrow's Friday. I am ready for the weekend to get here because, of course, I don't get days off. It's going to be busy all weekend. I'm going to try to edit a lot of videos. I want to do a weekend stream. I just got to find the time to do it. Last weekend being a holiday. This weekend, I've got softball dad stuff to do. We'll do one last question here. Power Gamer says, who do you think is going to return to WWE later on? As I said earlier, I think Braun will be back. If not by, I wouldn't surprise him if he's back by like Royal Rumble. CM Punk, Paige, John Cena. I think John Cena will be back this summer. He's finished filming his TV obligations. There's rumor that he will be a surprise on the first episode of SmackDown in front of a live audience. I think July. Let me pull up the calendar here. July 17th? July 16th. I think July 16th. Friday, July 16th. It is the first SmackDown back in front of a crowd. And it would not surprise me if on that edition of SmackDown, John Cena returns. He's talked about wanting to come back. He's talked about trying to find a way to get back to WWE. But he's been, busy with filming stuff. So now that those things are wrapping up, he can come back. He says, I hope Paige pulls an edge on the crown. I would love to see Paige come back. I don't know if she's going to be as lucky as Edge has been with his recovery or Daniel Bryan with his. But fingers crossed. I really like Paige. All right, so that's going to wrap up the stream. Again, thank you to everybody hopping in. Power Gaming, as always, thank you for joining. Downfall Wrestling, TEW Wrestling, Salome, thank you guys. Chewy, for all stopping in and joining the live stream. Yeah, she still is only 27. She's young. But sometimes your body just gives out and just can't do it no more. But again, thank you guys for being a part of the stream. The audio podcast will be up Saturday morning. I'm going to take some stuff from Monday stream. I'm going to take some stuff from this stream. We're going to mash it all together. I get to do that tomorrow night. That is my Friday nights, is usually podcast editing. Yep, it was a freak accident too, Power Game. Complete, total freak accident. You just never know in professional wrestling when your time comes for a crazy injury like that. But again, if you go down in the video description, guys, there's links to all the social media. Check out KC Toys on YouTube. Go ahead and get the subscribe button. We're working on, like I said, I've probably got I've probably got 15 videos that I've filmed to edit. I don't know how many Chris has. I know he's filmed a bunch of stuff. So I know there's a lot of stuff coming to that channel. It's going to come rapid. I think we want to do some live streams too. So he's working on getting himself a setup to do some live streams. But I'm just going to keep spreading the word until the first video goes up. Hopefully it'll be up soon. But speaking of videos, I've got some crazy videos coming here to Wrestling with Fans. I spent most of my break at work today, almost the entire 3 hours, writing stuff for YouTube for this channel. And I'm really excited. Plus, there's a lot of cool stuff coming, like some of these transitions. Like I'm working on making the stream really fun. Just doing some crazy stuff just to make these more fun and more interactive. But I like these new motion transitions. They look pretty sweet. Big fan. You should do a long stream, like 3 hours a day. Power Game, if I do that, it would have to be on a weekend or a weeknight when I don't have to get up the next morning for work. I start the streams late because I know this is usually when a lot of people are on and ready to watch. But unfortunately, my alarm clock goes off at 5:30 a.m. So as soon as I get off the stream, I'm going right to bed. 5:30 makes for an early wake-up call. Again, I want to do one on like a Saturday or Sunday. Do some chat. I've been fiending to play some WWE 2K. Because I've got some thoughts on what a and when do you not have to work? I'm only off on weekends. I work 2 jobs during the week. And then I work a third and fourth job with the podcast and the YouTube channels. I work constantly. But on the weekends is usually when I'm catching up on the stuff that I don't get to do during the week because I'm working my other jobs and live streaming on YouTube. Plus, I've got like softball dad stuff. Like I'm wearing my alma mater, Bewick. But yeah, we'll get one in here soon. And maybe this summer when things slow down for me, try to do some more streaming. I love streaming. It's a lot of fun. But then thanks to everybody. Thumbs up the video. Subscribe if you haven't done so. I think we did bump up to 105. One last check live. Yes, we are at 105. Super stoked on that. I know we did lose a couple after the giveaway, which I expected. That wasn't a shock to me. But we did bump. I think we were at 104, bumped down to 103. Now we've bumped back up to 105. So, wonder if Brock returns to SummerSlam. That is the $1 million question, Power Gaming. But we'll save that question for another time. You guys all have a wonderful rest of your night. Have a wonderful rest of your week. And as always, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling with Fans on YouTube. Join us every Monday and Thursday for our live streams, 8 to 9 p.m. But that's going to do it. Thank you all for watching. Once again, my name is Kyle. We'll see you next time right here on Wrestling with Fans.